All right, so we have one final reader tonight. John Grenier is currently working on his fourth career. While his primary focus is writing novels, he also writes shorter pieces appropriate for literary publication in the occasional poem. So please welcome him to the mic.
I'm going to read two pieces tonight. One's a poem, and as I tell my writers group, I am not a pilot. I am not a poet, and we're flying blind. So it's called Generations. An old man, arthritic and brittle, pushes his shoulders back. He's stubborn and refuses to succumb to age, but he has pride. When he dreams, he is a young man, vigorous and optimistic. The world, a dot on an unrolling map, and time is forever. When the old man awakes in the morning, he finds himself trapped in an aged body, a young mind imprisoned in an empty shell. As the sun sets, the old man stares towards a field of grass, golden with the autumn, bending in the wind. In that field stand a man and a boy. That man is my son. Hair thinning, thick in the waist, his body worn by responsibility and obligation. At night, my son dreams of respect and admiration, entitlement, and mostly for money. I had these dreams once, and he dreams for the wrong things. But alongside his child, my son sees the sun rising, and the light explodes across the sky. The child is a tow-headed boy, his father's satellite. The boy, 6 and sinewy, a force of nature. His kite catches the breeze, the string gossamer in the wind. It is alive and pulls away, but the boy pulls back. The boy dreams of trains and planes and flying like a bird and magic. He smiles. His happiness is provided for. I once was that child. So, thank you. This is a short story. This is a short piece about friendship called East Coast, West Coast Friends. And what would you prefer, an East Coast friend or a West Coast friend? We all need friends. That is to say, real friends. Not somebody who stands you up or tries to steal your girlfriend or skips on the restaurant tab. Don't even call those people friends. But everybody needs good friends. So what's the difference? First, the East is solid, established, predictable. An East Coast friend is somebody you likely met in the 2nd grade, you grew up together, stood up at your wedding, and cried on your shoulder when they divorced. When they die, you'll give the eulogy, because East Coast friends give the best eulogies, and you'll lie to make your friends sound like a saint. The growing up part is the key, because you only grow up once. The people you take on that journey cement themselves into your life, because once you're grown up, it's done forever. By comparison, the West Coast is fast-moving and innovative, while being laid back and impermanent. And a West Coast friend isn't in it for the long term, because people realize that in life things change, and friendships are made, lost, and need to be found again. Everything is ephemeral, but they're nice to be around and they're fun. However, when you lose your job, they listen to you and tell you what happened didn't sound fair. But as your West Coast friend walks out, they say over their shoulder, reach out when you get back on your feet. So why would anybody want a West Coast friend? It's simple. Your West Coast friend is honest with you. And while they're in it for the good time, and they're not as involved, and part of them doesn't give a whit, because they realize friends have a life cycle and nothing lasts. but they give the best wedding toast full of promise and tomorrow. Honesty is important. For instance, when you get a divorce, your East Coast friend, who is closer to you than your brother, comes by to comfort you, and he cusses out your wife right alongside you. It doesn't matter that you were a terrible husband. He doesn't tell you because he's in simpatico with you and you stick with your brothers, rain or shine. Now your West Coast friend listens patiently, empathizes with you, but asks questions. What about your drinking? Or the gambling? And remember that girl you cheated with 2 years ago? Without saying it directly, your West Coast friend lets you know you are the problem. And what's more, he says, your wife will go straight to heaven for the purgatory you put her through on earth. He'll say he would have left a long time ago. And they're honest with you if you take the time to listen. But don't fit your West Coast friend for a halo just yet. For example, you're meeting a friend at a soccer match for your children. It's cold and rainy and you didn't bring a coat. As you stand there shivering, your East Coast friend takes his coat off and hands it to you. No, I couldn't, you say. You'll get wet. And your East Coast friend says, we'll share the coat. Give it back when you warm up. That's a lot different than your West Coast friend who says, it's simply wretched you don't have a coat. The weathermen are useless, he says. Nobody predicted rain. As they look out at you, snug as a bug from inside their comfy jacket. Your East Coast friend was kind and your West Coast friend was nice. It's indicative of each culture. The East Coast is kind but not nice, and the West Coast is nice but not kind. Kindness is addressing the need. Niceness is acknowledging the situation. But your East Coast friend can be a jerk while he's being kind. When you hit a curb and get a flat tire, your East Coast friend will say, you drive like explicative, explicative, explicative. But then helps you change the tire, complaining about your driving the entire time. It is an act of kindness completely bereft of niceness. And your West Coast friend is the opposite. Looks like it'll take about half an hour to fix that tire, he'll say. I'm going to that bar to check out IPAs. Worse yet, when you're expressing a particularly strong opinion, your West Coast friend will listen to your rant politely, smile, never let you know he was insulted, then never speak to you again. Like hitting mute. But then they aren't in it for the long term. No East Coast friend worth his salt will let anything he strongly disagrees with pass uncommented. So maybe you need both types of friends, or the rare person who has the judgment to be either type depending upon the situation. But let's say you've just broken the law and the police are searching for you. Your East Coast friend now lives in Philadelphia, and when you knock on his door in the middle of the night, he says, you look like a fright. And then he says, come on in. He knows you better than your mother, and a few minutes later he says, do we need to hide your car in the garage? You nod, and he takes his car out so you can put yours in. Nobody asks what you did. He recommends keeping away from the picture window in the living room because people can see into the house. After 2 days, your East Coast friend says, you can't stay forever, so start making plans. But when you leave, your gas tank is full, and your friend stuffs $500 into your hands and hugs you for a long time. Call if anything goes wrong, he says as you leave. He says, I'll pray for you. When you show up at your West Coast friend's house in the middle of the night, he's more alarmed than you are. When you ask to come in, he says he's coming down with something and he doesn't want to give it to you. But he wishes you luck and says he won't seek out the authorities. But he hopes the police don't come asking because he can't go to jail. He has a family. As your West Coast friend closes the door, he adds, I'll pray for you, and I'll text you the name of a good lawyer. Thank you.